challenges that I see are a lot of banks are facing disruption from lots of new entrants into the market. If you think about Uber as a company that's built a taxi company with no cars, you think about Airbnb as a company that's built an entire hotel business with no rooms. You have a lot of challengers right now looking at disrupting bank services. And so one of the challenges for banks is how are they going to create similar quality experiences for their customers that can compete with those startups and move as fast and as agile as those startups are moving in the market today. Second is, if you think about creating customer experiences, the banks have been through a tough time recently where they've lost a lot of customer loyalty through the financial crisis. People think very differently about their banks, and they now need the banks to be where they are. You know, once upon a time you would change your phone if your bank app wasn't on it. Now you'll change your bank if they're not on your phone. And so they have to create those great customer experiences and be able to use technology to engage those customers in a way they weren't able to in the past. And then I think banking needs to become much more personal. So we now need to use the information that we have on our customers to get them the right products for them in the right way. And so I look at things like machine learning and Cortana analytics and other capabilities that will begin to start helping banks create a more customer-centered bank, where it's more about the things that you care about and bringing those to life. And so it's really how do you bring those technologies to bear and compete with a lot of these startups who want your business. I think banking's changed fundamentally in the last few years. I mean, if I think about how we work with banks, nobody goes to branches anymore. We really expect that the bank is going to be on the devices that we use every day. I mean, from Microsoft, we have the perspective that a bank needs to be present in the financial lives of its customers anytime, any place, anywhere, and on any device. That's really about showing up where the customer needs you to show up. And if you bank in the traditional way, using branches, if you bank in the traditional way, saying, we offer you this fixed set of services, then you're going to find the customers are moving away to other competitors who are much more nimble and much more flexible about how they do that. I think banks have to make sure that they're providing a broader customer experience. So we spend a lot of time with banks in Europe and the US thinking about how do they create better customer experiences at the front end? How do you create an omni-channel experience where you can start a transaction on the phone, continue it in the branch, and then if you get into trouble, finish it in the call center without having to give the banks all of your details again every single time? So how do they create those holistic experiences? That's probably one of the key challenges. At the same time, banks are under pressure from regulators to continue to give much more transparency into how they operate their banks. And that's partly on the financial solvency side, but we also see it on the IT risk side. So as regulators look at helping banks make better decisions about outsourcing or cloud or other technologies, banks need to be able to give them the transparency that they need to be able to use those technologies and give the confidence to both the internal bank people, security compliance, as well as the regulators, that the choices they're making are well understood, that they've thought through the risks properly, and that they're making confident steps into those technologies. I think banks have already begun that change. So, 3 years ago when I started in this role and I talked to banks, they would be very clear, we will never move to the cloud. And then 2 years ago, that shifted to more of a, we know what we need to do, we know we need to take advantage of cloud, but not now. And really over the last 12 to 18 months, it's become a much more nuanced conversation, saying, Microsoft, you understand cloud, help me to talk to my internal risk people, help me talk to my regulators, and help me understand how I move to the cloud in a safe, secure, well-managed way. That one is that they have a spaghetti of systems in their data centers today, and it's incredibly hard to do any kind of new product innovation or any kind of change to that model. And so we've been talking with banks about how, if you use the scale of cloud computing, can you start to move and free up and simplify some of that technology architecture and spaghetti you have in your data center, and begin to think about how do you re-architect that so that you can compete with some of the new disruptive startups that they're competing against.